Transformers reviews, tech and the news, whatever else I use as a muse. Hit subscribe, I appreciate the views. Influences interest on YouTube. Thank you for joining me today. First review of 2023. I got fanstoys Jive FT-48, which is their Jazz. Hope everybody's having a great new year. I know it's only a few days in, but finally I got this figure. And initial thoughts is it looks great. I wasn't super excited about it, which kind of translated into probably why I'm late, because I had a little shipping snafu that was my fault. And normally I'm on stuff like that, so that kind of tells you how excited I was to get this figure. And I think because I had Make Toys figure, and we'll compare him later. With that said, even though this is better to me, better built, it's better looking, it's not so far better that it's like, oh, I couldn't wait to get it. So I mean, that's just what it is for me. Good side is it's a great figure. It looks great. I love the face sculpt, the head sculpt. I also like the legs and some of the transformation. Now the transformation I keep hearing is super hard. When I did it, it wasn't hard at all. The only thing is frustrating at certain points, like two particularly points. There's some things in the legs, but if you get them off and get it right, it's all right. However, once you get everything together and you try to cohesively get it all combined to get it all pegged in at once, like it's kind of a nightmare at that point. But you can do it, and I will demonstrate it. And then going backwards, it's kind of a nightmare, which I will demonstrate that as well, because it's the last time I'm probably transform it and throw it on my shelf. Alrighty, so let's just get into this. So first, let's get into some accessories. Since he's holding his gun, we'll get into that. It's just a peg in the back, and it's a little slat in the back. And I do like how they have his fingers. His trigger finger goes out a little bit, and it's like molded around. I mean, I guess the gun was molded for his fingers because it fits perfectly, even though there's no articulation in the fingers individually. So you got that. We can take that out and look at it real quick. Just wanted to show it while it was in there. It's gray. It looks like his gun. It's painted, of course, gray. It's like a flat, really flat gray, but the sculpt is great. And not much else. You have his giant missile that he had, the toy version had, I believe. I don't know if he ever had this in the cartoon. I can't remember. I don't remember seeing him, but my memory is not the greatest, so maybe somebody in the comments can let me know. But I do know the toy had it, because the toy was super small, and this missile was like, this is one of the toys I always wanted, never got, but my boy had. So I just remember the missile. I always mess with it, and the missile was like super big. It was like this big. It was on like a thing. But yeah, they did a great job, and it just clips on in the back right here. There's two little clips that double as other stuff. So you have that. I'll show it briefly. Doesn't fire. It I don't know. I'm not gonna say it doesn't come out, because I think, yeah, I can't get it out. I don't think it comes out, but I said that with Perceptor, and Perceptor's missile did come out. So some more accessories. We have his grappling hook. Shout out to the new table as well. I got a new little setup, but here's the grappling hook, and it works. Actually, does it work? Yeah, it does work. I never did it before. It spins. It's tight though. You have his two speakers. Of course, he needs these for some reason, and they're just on ball pegs where you can sit them down and then move them out, so they're not so upright, or you can have them upright. It doesn't matter. I will show that in a minute as well. And you have his extra faces. His faces here, you have like a open mouth, and this is just a plain face with no expression, which is what came on him.
And the face I put on, which doesn't come on him, is like a smirking face. He's a fun character, so this is the face that I'll probably have on there. I put it on right away as soon as I got it out the package because I know I wanted it on there. And what you do is you just lift this up and pull it out and then insert it. It's just on this little peg right here. Just insert it up there and then you just push it back down. So let me show the speakers on him real quick. So use the same 2 pegs that you use for the missile or the rocket launcher. You stick that back there. Stick this back here. Easier said than done. There we go. You can move these. You can move them down to the sides if you need to, so they're more out. And I do like the color, the blue, the paint. Man, it's really, really nice. So then with his arm, as you do with a lot of Masterpiece Transformers, you just push his hand in, just in. There we go. That way you can. So fist in, and you see these things right here. You just insert this into here. And it's that easy. It has a grappling hook that he used, I think, 0.7 times. I think he used it in one episode. I'm not sure. Have a card, of course. A book. Yeah, book. Yeah, whatever. It's okay. I looked through it just to see, make sure I ain't missed nothing. In box, of course, the same old box, the small box. And got some nice artwork. Always nice artwork. And always nice product shots. So here you go, and he's really nice. Nice paint, of course, fanstoys paint. It is flat gray here. I know a lot of people were uncertain about the flat gray. I actually like the flat gray, and I like the way it feels. I'm not sure. I can't explain it. It just feels like a little sturdier. In the blue here, the light blue is really nice. This blue is really nice. This blue is really nice. I think it's a really good looking figure. From the back, it doesn't look bad. It's not terrible. And I said I would start taking these stickers off right away. I usually take them off if I remember, but I've been forgetting, so they're on my display. Face sculpt again, I showed it earlier a little bit, but I think it's a great face sculpt. Yeah, I didn't show you can move the doors out. Move it up, move these out, and then move them out like that. Move these up, these out. So then you can have this look, which is the toy look. This is a little floppy right here. I just noticed that. Probably from transforming it, because the doors are one of the pain parts. But yeah, you can get the doors out and they're not that hard. Then you can have the toy look. I like it with the doors down. I don't like the toy look. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the toy look. I'm used to this. So put it down. Compact pretty well. So let's do some comparisons. We got Make Toys. So you can compare that and see. Again, I think it's preference, but I definitely like this better. I like the streamline better, the materials better. And then we have Prime, so you can see him next to Prime. That is the KO. I didn't do a review or anything. That I got that for Christmas. My fiance got it for me. One of the Transformers I got. Yeah, I didn't do a review on that yet. I don't know if I will. However, just wanted to show you can see what it looks like if you have MP44 or the KO of MP44. Let me compare him to some of his fanstoys brethren. I think they all look good together, and yeah, they really do. Make Toys. I don't want crap on Make Toys because it is a good figure, and anybody that picks that, I'm perfectly fine with your choice. I think it's a good figure. This is a lot better looking at it. It's a lot more streamlined. It is more cartoon. accurate. And this is a figure that I guess I like the cartoon accuracy more. Like, I'm just looking at Make Toys legs and how thick they are. Some people like that, and it is more real world. Like I said, there's a couple bots I have that I do like the more real world, but kind of like the way Jazz looks here. All right, so let's do articulation. Head, you can look up like all the way down. You can get down. It messes up the sculpt if you use this little hinge. Of course, 360 because I think it's a hinge, so you're not going to get any side to side, which I'm not sure why they don't use ball joints. I'm not sure I know the range of up and down you get from a hinge is a lot better than a ball joint. However, you don't get any emotionness of the side to side or whatever. So, I mean, it's a trade-off depending on what you like. So you can get the arm up that high. You can move these shoulders up, which is how they go in transformation. So I don't know. No, you don't get any more when you do that. My shoulders tend, I think you're supposed to have them down, and my shoulders tend to go down as you're manipulating it. So they stay down. You first get this. There's a little peg in there that I'll probably show on the way. These arms are super tight, but there's a peg in there and it pegs up there the shoulder. That peg wasn't poked out into that slot. Like I said, I'll show it later. However, if that's not there, these arms will be super floppy. But with that there, if it's there good, you can manipulate these arms without them moving. At least I can on my copy. I like to say that because sometimes you get figures and they move differently, or arms differently. It might be different over here. Yeah, see, that's what I mean. Over here, it came out when I tried to manipulate the arm. So I didn't notice that before. I'm glad I did that. So sometimes it might be better to do both arms, because this is a super hard ratchet. I have no idea why this ratchet is this tight. There's other bigger figures that needed ratchets that tight, but this is a small figure. It doesn't combine. It's just, there's no reason for that ratchet to be that tight, and that arm doesn't have a big giant gun or anything. But again, it came out. So this arm is solid. When you move it, this arm is fine. This arm is coming out, and you can kind of see that better, that little tab right there that goes into the back of the arm, that little notch. And it's not a great connection. It kind of just slides up in there. But if you have this all the way up as it should be, which I don't right now because it fell down, you can kind of get it a little better. There we go. So I spent way too much time on that arm. You got the bicep swivel all the way around. You have this like this. I know my new table's getting on my nerves already, but I'm hoping it don't make too much noise. You got up, not double jointed, but you can't get more than 90, not all the way. You do get hands that spin around. Earlier, as I said, you get one finger. You only get the pin here, no thumb movement, and just the 3 other fingers moving. Waist, you can get waist all the way around, and you can get ab crunch, which is great. I know people like that. You got individual skirts, which is wonderful as well, and all 6 skirts are individual, so front, back, and sides. Get the legs all the way up and do the splits on ratchets, so they don't fail at all. But then you get side to side on friction. Now I understand why they do friction side to side. However, sometimes it's not the best, and that fails a little bit. But just sitting there, you can get him in poses and he's not gonna fail where he falls. So there's that. You got the knee, get you more than 90. And also it goes this way sometimes because of transformation. This joint isn't the tightest, so it can manipulate, especially because of the knee is super tight. You gotta try to get that knee where you need it. You got thigh swivel up here. Put these back down. And then you have ankle rocker, which It's the heel spur and the toe that rock back and forth. You get about that much. You don't really get too much toe tilt. You can if you undo this, I think. No, you can get a little bit, but not a whole lot. And you can get some toe up. And it does manipulate. I like how that does manipulate, and this goes back and forth. So you can try to get toe down. But again, not a whole lot. But it's good. It's good. And these tires and stuff move. And I think that's it for articulation. So we can get into transformation. There's no rhyme or reason really. There's just some stuff you do have to do first. So pull this up here. Just leave that there. I'm gonna try to do this as detailed as possible. I mean, I know there's other reviews out there, but I'm not sure how many people went into extreme detail. Take that off right there. Push that up into there. First time you do that is tight, of course. Flip that up. You want to get this out the way because it's going to be in the way. So you want to pull that out like that. Just get and push this up as much as possible. Doesn't go that far, but you can see. Now there's a peg here, and this is pegged. This side is pegged on in there. So you just want to pull this out. I don't know how tight it's going to be now. Should be a little loose. Yeah, there we go. Pull that out there like that. Pull this out of here like this. Now this part right here is going to come out of here. So let's flip it over. So you got it like this, and then you can start to pull this out of here. Now all this stuff may get in the way depending on how this is. You just want to get it around all of this. This was getting a little frustrated. This is pegged in here as well, so you want to try to pop that off. But then once you do that, then you can move this down and just out the way as much as possible. And then this, you're going to flip around. So you want to move it this way, flip this around here. Be careful with all of this. As you're doing that, you can flip this up, which is the toe. The toe is gonna rest like that. When you're done, you can flip this inner tab. I don't know if you can tell where it is. It's on the inside of the leg. Flip that tab in like that. And don't forget about this. You're flipping around and getting it out. And you can move this down a little bit, or I should say up. Like this. It's on a ball joint, so you move it up a little bit in order to get all this stuff around all this other stuff, and then move it back down once all this is around there. So now you have this section. So this should be pegged in there, even though it's not. You can pull the peg out. It's like kind of a slider, and move this like this. You see it move down. You want to move all this stuff as you're getting it out the way. Then you can flip this tire around here, and it all moves. It all has barely enough room to move around everything, but it does. So you just have to figure out which way you're getting it. Then you can push this down, push this in here to put it together, and then move this around here, and you're going to snap this together like that. And that's how the final is. Not the final leg, but that's how the final mode is. Then you can move this up here, because it's going to have to go into this leg. Got this. Move that up there like that, and this should, I think it pegs on to the foot back here on the side. Right there, there's a peg. Then you can just move this down here and get all this together. Like, collapse all this move this up here, and it collapses in there like that. Then this is there like that, and this is down, goes down. There's a peg on the end. I always forget this peg, and you're out of focus. So after you collapse all this down, there's a peg in there that I always forget. And going back, you got to unpeg that to get it out. And going this way, you got to get it around a little bit and then peg it in. There you go. Now, once you peg that in, all of this stuff will kind of fall in place. Then you can peg this down as well. So you pull this back. I think it's back, yeah. And then you can peg that there and peg this right there. And really, you got one side of the leg done. It's really not that difficult. The leg part, here again. Flip this up here like that. Get this out because you're gonna want it to be able to move freely. Once you get that out of there, then you can break this connection, get all this moved out the way. Get this foot moved out first before you move all this. You see this one, I must not have that one on tight because this one's on tight and it's hard. There we go. So yeah, that is hard and super hard the first time, really. You know how that goes. So you move this out and you're just moving this to get it away from all of this stuff. It's not really a requirement, but it is a requirement. Then you can pull all this out here. Pull that out. Again, you're moving this like this, but you gotta kind of tilt it up a little in order to get this out of the way you need it or want it. Let's move with this. Let's fool with this stuff first. So here, again, you move this out so you can start to move it around. It pulls this out on like a moving bar. Move that like that. Spin this around here. Spin this all the way around. Then connect this. I'm trying to show it at different angles. It's actually pretty hard to show. Put that in here. There we go. There we go, like that. And now move this kind of like this in order to get this around here. There we are. Move this foot up. Make sure it's straight first. Move this out here. Move this up here. And peg it into the foot right there. There we go. Then you want to move this down here. Again, don't forget the peg. That's right there. That I always forget to move down and peg in. Right. The easy way to figure it out is to move this stuff down. This goes down and pegs right there on the end of the foot. So there we go. And then you can get all this where you need it to be. And you can put that in there, like that. Then peg that and make sure this is where you need it to be as well. And it's not. No, it is, but it's not. We'll go together all at once at the end, and it's really challenging. And that's where I don't think this was as challenging as at the end is, and you'll see what I mean. You can put this together. It doesn't really matter. It wasn't any easier for me if it wasn't together. So I just put it together now. It may come apart, so you may just say forget it, wait till the end, but it's all right. So now you have all this. I'm gonna flip this up. I'm gonna pull this out of here. Anytime usually it comes out, move these doors out, then you move that down here. Now I just spin these out now just because. Spin them out like that. Spin these out. They're actually pegged in, so you got to get them off their pegs, spin them on the ball joint that they're on. They are like clear plastic, so I would be very careful. But it doesn't feel terrible. Push these up, just to get to this. And right here, I'll pull that up, and then you can wait to put this together. As you see, I can do it, but you're spinning the legs, you're putting the torso back and spinning the legs up so they're flat like this. So it'll be this. I'm gonna pull this now. We can start the upper body. Pull this down out from here. Pull that out. Pull this out. Pull this head on this double joint. Just pull it up because it's gonna go eventually go back. But you want to split this right here. Pull this down here. And fold this over, and then this is going to be folded over like this and down, and then this is going to be folded back up. So there you go, like that. Then with this, you pull this up. There's a bar here. You see how it slides up? Slides up. You just slide this forward like that. And now you want to flip this over. Pull this piece in the front that you split, pull that up like that, and you should be able to now put the head down a little bit. It's not going to be in the final position, but you want to put it down enough to flip this around. So now you should be able to flip this over like that. Pull this up here because it goes into the middle section right there, and push it together. So you see, so far it's not terrible. So then make sure these metal bars, those are slid all the way back here. So now you can fool with these doors. Just get the windows out. Don't forget the mirrors. The mirrors are inside right here. Don't forget them because you'll have a time. I had a time. I forgot them the first time, or I didn't see them. I didn't know. I noticed there wasn't no mirrors, but I was like, okay, maybe they left the mirrors off. But yeah, the mirrors are right there, and you want to make sure you pull them out and on the outside, because when you're trying to close it up, you can imagine. I'm glad I didn't break anything. Now everything's like this. You want to push this up and push this bar back. It's on a sliding bar, so you're gonna push this back like that, and then you insert, you kind of put this underneath, and this goes into there like this. Make sure the has to be in the right mood. There we go. You can move this down here like that. Have the head like that. And here's where you start the nightmarish. So you got it like that. It's fine. So now what you want to do is, now you're starting to get into the territory. You see how his knees go like this. You're gonna slide, try to bend these up, and maybe it's better to do it without having it together. I don't know, but you want to try to have the knees at that type of angle so you can push them all the way up, and then make sure this doesn't go up like that. You have to, it tells you to hold it, and that's probably what I need to do. And then you got to maneuver it around here. There we go. And it kind of just goes up under there like that. You're in the final position. So then the second one gets a little harder because you don't have anywhere to grab onto, but it won't move up because of the leg. So then you can just try to like get it situated as best as possible. There we go. Get that situated. Now peg hole and peg hole. I mean peg and peg hole. This you want to get underneath here, and these of course peg into the back and form the rest of the car. So kind of get them right, kind of hold them like that, and then try to get this under here. This gets a little frustrating, but you see it's not bad. And then you just put these in like that. Good to go. Now this is where it gets insane when you're trying to get all this stuff in. It's let me see if this is right. Is this right? Yeah, you gotta make sure that's all the way up. So I pull these off of here, like this, hold it like that, push the rods that I was telling you about earlier, push them down. Now the problem with the doors is you have to, it's like a double hinge here, but this hinge is weird and it barely fits. The actual hinge hardware barely fits in this space, but it does fit in the space, so you gotta like kind of push it in. But let's get in a little ahead of myself there. So, well, not really. Not really. We can do it now. Let's see. I'll try to show it this way. So of course there's a peg here that pegs on the door. No other pegs, I don't think. I think there might be a peg up here. Yeah, there's a peg right here that pegs in there. But this is where the problem lies, because this right here will come off or up while you're trying to do all this, and you just gotta try to maneuver it in order to push it up into that cavity. It just becomes a mess sometimes, a pain, and that time it wasn't too bad. But here's the problem again. Like I said, move this down and you gotta kind of pull this at the same time you're pushing right here to get all this like that. That's how it's supposed to be flush. And you see this is coming out. Again, over here, do the same thing. Kind of pull this. There we go. And then push that in there. So that's the easiest way. Like you pull this and push that in there. But you will undoubtedly, and you see stuff is popping out. And yes, this is an issue. There's no way around it. It's not the greatest, but you can get it. You saw me get it. So now, I always have trouble with these arms. I always seem to forget. You saw me earlier trying to figure out the hands. I believe they're like this, or no, like this. Yeah. So get them hands in. spin them around opposite of how they are. But then it was complicated on the video. But really what you want is pull this up, spin this around. This arm will be up here like in the L, and this arm will be down here in the L. I believe it matters which one, but I'm not sure if it does or why. But I believe it does. But the thing you got to be careful is this is so tight, and this right here, you got so much torque on it. So hold it, do whatever you need to do, and be careful. Don't lose a grip, because this and this is what the issue is. Because this, like I said, this is so tight. So now I'm gonna move it to, also this doesn't feel great, but I move this out also. And you wanna rock this up. Rock this arm up so it's closer to, and you see it's about, you know, 1/4 of an inch higher than this thing, this part. This is where you want to spin around after you rock it, and it should be the other way. Of course it should. Move it like that, and whichever way you can move it so it moves, so the elbow moves, that's which way you move it. Then you push this down here, and this goes up, and it kind of keeps this from flexing, which keeps everything together. That's why you want to kind of do it last. And there's a tab there that goes in there. I don't think it's that great of a tab. And there's a tab here. Again, it's not that great of a tab. However, it is a tab. So, and this stuff is coming out again. And this is where it gets frustrating. At this point, like no other point was it frustrating for me, but then this is where it gets frustrating because you have nowhere where to hold it, and you have to do this last, or you just do. So I kind of got it, but I don't have it. Make sure that arm is all the way down. There we go. And there we go. Finally, it's down where it needs to be. Phew. And then this kind of rock this back here as far as it goes, because of course it fits in this cavity. And let me see if I can figure it out which way it goes before I put it down. And you gotta make sure you rock it all the way up. It's easy to figure out this because it's whichever way the elbow bends. There we go. But this is like this, and as we're moving it down, and it's kind of like stuffed in there. Again, I don't know if I've done something wrong. I don't think I have. So that's like a big negative. But once you get it, you see all this is coming out. And that's what it does. It will do that. Like, this is a return to their old ways, I kind of feel, because it's like blur. That's what I feel like, to tell you the truth. When you get to this point, like, there's nothing, it's all gravy until you get to that point, and then it's like blur. Like, you're squeezing and pushing and trying to peg stuff in while other stuff is coming out. And here we go. Here's Jazz, and it looks great. It looks wonderful. Positives are of the car mode is the way it looks, for one, especially once you get it to where you needed to get it. It just, you already know the negatives. It's just hard to get everything crammed in there together. But yeah, once you get it, it's fine. It rolls. Sometimes these wheels get stuck, but you just gotta adjust them to where, and you gotta figure it out, like where it needs adjusting. Because like a regular race car, it is, the fender is really low. Like, it's really low, and the fender's quick, almost touching it. But yeah, it's nice. Got the car here. I love how they hide all this. I just love the looks of it. Like, it looks great. And back here is not squeezed in. Make sure I can do something. Sometimes that does happen. So, I mean, when I first transformed this, I got it all together. Like, it was all cohesive. And that was the thing. So just for gimmicks, let's see, you can put this back here if you want. So he'll have the missile. I don't think there's a place for his gun. At least I don't see a place, but you can put the gun onto the missile like that. And you also do that when it's in his hand as well, I believe. I didn't show that, but you put the gun on the missile, and then you can put the missile back here. So then he'll have all his weapons on him. That's cool. Then you have the speakers, but you can do the same thing. Just put them on the back here. So then he can blast his music. And again, they're on ball joints, so you can move them around, which I think is a cool touch. I think it's nice. Move it up a little bit, move it around about like that. You have it frontwards. It will have a tendency to slide, to come off as you're if you're sliding it around, because the ball joint is a little tight. So while you're moving it, you're sliding this part, not just the ball joint, not just, you know, this part. You're moving this part around too. Let me see. I didn't even try to see if this can fit on his front winches, usually on cars. But no, don't see anything, any way to do that. Yeah, you got your 4. I'm sure Repo Labels probably got some stuff out for this, or coming out for it, to maybe put a little bit more labels on there, and probably put symbols on. I don't know, maybe. I don't think he's ever going to be in car mode for me. So that's pretty much it. Chrome wheels, no articulation, nothing to, it's a car. You got the blue headlights, gray right here. Can't see his arm underneath the car, but you can't see it from, you know, you have to look under. Clean underneath besides his arms. I really wish they would have found a different way to store his arms, but what else can you do? It kind of reminiscent of the G1 as well. All right, so in my fashion, let's go back. It's not that bad. There's just a few things in it that, you know, you need to know. So let's get these arms out of here. And it's quite easy to go back because you ain't got to worry about none of this stuff. Move that down a little bit. Get his arms out. I just pull the doors out, get it out on that double hinge right there. Still be careful because the doors don't feel great. That hinge doesn't feel the greatest. Doesn't feel like it's gonna break like terrible, but still it doesn't feel the greatest. So then right now you might as well pull this pin up that the arms get on. Oh, I forgot to. I wanted to pull that up first. Again over here, pull this out while the arms and everything is out of the way. Get that down there. Then you can just put the arms back in their little spots. Rock them down because they are in the way. If you don't rock them down to the normal, then you can have them all the way out. You can rock these down and have them all the way out. Let me see. The arms, want to get this out of here in order to get this. There we go. It does have a peg that goes into here, so it keeps it right there. Then you can get it out of the back, the side peg. There we go. Goes out here, and that's on a ball joint, so I'm sure it just came off the ball joint. First time it's done that, of course, because that's what happens. I'm just gonna leave it off until I can get this out of here. Pull this out. I pull this out. Pull this up a little bit just to get room. Unpeg this. There we go. Try to pull that out. Put this on here, back on this ball joint. Now all that is clear plastic, so I don't know. But there's two pegs underneath here that you can peg this into so it doesn't flop around. There you go with that. Move this around. The ball joint is very tight. However, it does feel flimsy because of the clear plastic. I pull this up. I already got all this out because you kind of have to when you're trying to get this out. Pull that out and back. And then you can work on this top part. I already pulled that out. Flip this around like that. And then pull this gray piece down. And then you flip this white piece up and out, and you flip these two pieces out. Then you put the gray piece back, because then when you push this down here like this, well, as you're pushing it down, you want to move these bars right here again forward. Actually, I think it should have been swung the other way. Sorry about that. I didn't realize there's a reason. Let me see. Swing it this way, yeah, because it won't go all the way if you swing it the other way. Learned something new. Didn't realize that. Must have just did it right both times that I did it, because I didn't think it was a reason for it. Go like that, and then you can squeeze this together. Make sure the blue is up here as you're squeezing that together, and then this peg's underneath here. Move that up, this up. It's on that double hinge. Put it forward and then down. There you go. Then you can move this up here and peg it up in here like that, and move this down as you're moving this up so it can fit. Move these windows down, move the mirrors down, back down, move that down and around. Again, move that down, move the mirrors down, show it from this angle, move that down and around. You can't keep it like this because you're gonna want all this stuff out. So now you wanna split if you need to, and move the legs out on that hinge. It kind of goes out like you want it. Move the skirts down a little bit. Move this up, hinge that back up the waist. Move the legs back to the normal position as you're moving this waist up. Then we move it up. Clamp that down like that. Now the legs are in the normal position that they will be in. There we go with this. You see how this bends a little bit? That's what it's supposed to do. And kind of supposed to bend around this to keep this arm in. Kind of makes it more streamlined. You move all this stuff back. Now for the legs, they can get a little tricky going back. So let's pull this out. Just gotta, again, pull this out of here. Pull this apart as best as you can. Move that around. Move that around there. Then all of this stuff. Don't forget to pull this is in there. I forgot the first time and it was hell. Like I didn't know what was going on. And then pull this out, the spoiler, and move it back. And then you can move this back. And that way you can get all of this stuff out of the way. Not totally out of the way, but out of the way. Also, this, if it didn't come off already, it probably came off already, but unpeg it from there. You can move this down, and you're going to just have to start the process over again. Move this around here like this. Get it situated so you can move the wheel back to some type of the normal position. Let me see. Yeah, you move it this way. And flip it around. I was moving it the wrong way. Yeah, there you go. Flip that around. Then you can kind of just leave this like it is. You want to work on all of this. So with all this stuff out the way, you want to move the foot down. Move this foot down like that. Then you have enough room for everything in here. Now what you want to do is move this arm out the way. You're back to trying to move this out here. But you can kind of tilt that up again while you're moving it in order to get all this in the proper where you want it at. once you do that, then you can move this back here like that. Then you tilt it back out. And you're prepared to get this thing out the way. This thing is always in the way. There we go. Now with it like that, you're prepared to put all this stuff in here. And it may take some doing. You gotta try to get it around there, and it just fits. And you should clamp it down as well with the peg. There's a peg here on there, but I'm worried about getting it in to the leg. And you can kind of look over here and see, push this down here as it's moving in. Everything is stuffed in there. There's a peg there, hole, peg there, peg hole, if you can get everything in there first. Use a tool to kind of push that fender. That fender is the worst because it's hard to get up in there, but once you get it up in there, it's all right. It's enough room for everything else. Then you can kind of get all this stuff situated. There we go. So you move that back, move this back, and this kind of stays like that. Move this up, move this down, and it clamps right there. All this stuff is just barely in here. Then you can push this because there's a peg here on this thing, and then there's the peg right there that you can see, and they both should peg in and keep it together. This right here I'm not even worried about really, but just for the sake, there we go, pegged in tight. And move this down here and your leg is done. Should I show it over here? I don't know how much cleaner, but I'll show it. So pull this out, move that, flip this, kind of look at the hinge and see which way you're going. You're going this way. Then you can move this back that way. Again, you want to move this down here, but you're going to have to push it up a little in order to get all of this situated. First of all, get it straight. There we go. Now you can pull this out and up. Make sure this is out and back. You can move this all the way down. You get all this out. You can get it out pretty far. You see how it is. So then you can get this foot out of here. And you have room to work. And this is the hard part, because that's when you try to put this up in here. Hopefully, yeah, it's already in there. I'm trying to move that around like that. Get this up in here like this, because you want this to move around, and then to do, but it can be done. This, oh, that's what was going on. This was caught on here. On. That's why it wouldn't go. And then this is a peg right there. Man, see? Something simple, but you got to account for all of that. So I could have, glad I ain't destroy it. Here we go. That one was a little cleaner besides this piece being caught on here, which is why it wouldn't go together. But then you just do this like that. Push this down here like this. Make sure the legs are right. Flip this around. Came off there. I already reiterated everything about the figure. If you, I know I'm late with it, but hey, what can you do? I appreciate y'all joining me. So please like, subscribe, share. Share helps out. Like helps out. Subscribe helps, but like, I think like and sharing is where it's at. All right. So thank you again for watching. I'll get up with you in another one. Peace.
Life ain't over. Life ain't over. Life ain't over. As long as you alive, you can give another try and take it real high if you want it.